Hello, everyone. So, we've gotten the best out of the way. Now it's time for the fun stuff. These are the top 10 worst figures that I got in the year 2022. Now, for me personally, it was actually a pretty good year. Not too many bad ones, so the bottom of the list might seem a bit weird, a bit controversial, but it's because I didn't have much to really pick from as far as bad toys. So, this is one where it's like, this toy's okay, but it has like one or two things that really just hold it back from being good. So, without further ado, let's get to some honorable mentions. We have Legacy Blitzwing. Looks good in robot mode, looks okay in tank mode. That is a lazy attempt at a jet mode at very best. I understand there's limitations, but good God, that does not look good in the slightest. Maybe if they didn't give him giant translucent red Hulk hands, they could have used it to improve the engineering a bit. The knockoff Abominus I got, I showed this in my collection video. The reason it's not on the list is because it's a knockoff. I knew exactly what I was getting, and it is everything I thought it was going to be. uh, and then some. And then finally, we have Buzzworthy Terrorsaur. Good figure overall, but Jesus, I'm tired of them reusing old molds or molds from other toys for figures that desperately need new molds. Pterosaur does not work as an Air Razor retooling, so one I forgot to put on here, Kingdom Scorponok. Yeah, that's his name. Um, Looks okay in Scorpion mode. Just needed better proportions overall. I don't know why they gave him gigantic mitts for his hands, and I don't know why they made his legs so short. Definitely needed a few adjustments made. But without further ado, here we go. Number 10, we have Buzzworthy Dinobot. Now, this was one of those figures where it was like, it's not really a terrible figure, but there's just one or two things. And the one or two things are the colors are god awful. The raw chicken Dinobot is the name for this, and I can see why it looks so bad. I don't know why they didn't go for a light tan instead of going for truly a raw chicken pink. But it does not look good. This was one of the figures that was also notoriously known for having yellowed plastic straight out of the packaging. Yeah, it's at the number 10 spot just because the mold itself is a really good mold, but good lord, the colors just needed another go around. I mean, they needed to do something that made this look better than it did. Moving on, we have number 9, which is Kingdom Rhinox. Now, this is a personal disappointment for me because I love Rhinox. Rhinox was my favorite character from Beast Wars. And this figure doesn't really do him all that much justice, but then again, neither did the Kingdom TV show, so I guess it's fitting. Weapons look really stupid. They're so short and stubby, they barely pass his fist. Legs are way over-engineered for what they need to be. The chest looks really bad. This was one of those times where they could have re-released an older figure and it would have worked perfectly fine. Thrilling 30 Rhinox, I regret selling mine, but unfortunately it was missing one of its blasters, and I was just like, I don't really need it anymore. I really regret selling that. That figure would have been a great re-release for this. I don't know why. Sorry, my dog just moved. I don't know why they didn't just do that. This is such a disappointment of a figure. Over-engineered legs. The beast mode doesn't do anything, which, fair enough. Rhinox has never been able to do anything in beast mode. But, yeah. You okay over there, dude? No. Sorry, he keeps moving around just in his bed. But yeah, just not a great figure. Not a terrible figure, but definitely not a great one. Number 8, and this is where we start getting to the ones that, yeah, these definitely belong in a top 10 worst. Core Class Laserbeak. Now, this figure is riddled with QC issues. The arms constantly pop off. The legs constantly pop off. I mean, yeah, it doesn't feel good to handle. No good articulation, really. You have to move the thighs or the legs into a weird position in order to actually get them to pose in any meaningful way. But also, I just don't think this was a necessary figure. I mean, really? Laserbeak from Dark of the Moon and the pink Bumblebee? I mean, like, it's funny, but like, was that really a necessary figure to come out with? So, I mean, I can say that is definitely a pink Bumblebee, and that's probably the most I can give him. So, moving on, we have Dropkick. This is number 10, 9, 8, 7. Now, personally for me, this figure's not as bad as everyone else makes it out to be. It is definitely in the top 10 worst, but it's definitely not like top 4 or anything like that. It just doesn't look good. It's pretty ugly. The transformation for him specifically kind of gets in its own way. It works a lot better on Drift. But here, yeah, he's just really ugly. Doesn't look good. A lot of paint chipping on mine. Mine came packed with Car Shatter, which, yeah, that's a figure that's on this list if you couldn't tell. He's not as bad as everyone makes him out to be, but yeah, he's definitely in the top 10 worst. Doesn't look good. Looks nothing like anything we saw in the movie. He is based on concept art, but even then, he doesn't look close to what that concept art looks like. Articulation's all right. Nothing really tabs in all that well. The tail rotor of the helicopter mode just kind of sticks off his arms, and they don't really tab in either. They kind of just sit there. Yeah, no, definitely needed a few more go-arounds in the engineering department. But that is our number 7. Here we have number 8, or 6. Sorry, I'm going backwards here. This is the 15th anniversary Bumblebee. Now, you can say what you want about the mold. We know the mold has QC issues. However, the 15th anniversary edition of this guy he just feels so bad. There are some parts of him that are so tight and they're clear plastic. So good luck having this figure for more than 2 or 3 years before it starts showing stress issues. And then there are some parts that are so loose you can't really do anything with them. The feet are so loose on this guy. Yeah, and I know it's not a mold issue because there's nothing extremely tight on my Dark of the Moon version, and it's the same mold, just with a few differences in the chest area. But, like, good lord, this thing needed a few more QC tests before it got released. Sorry, I thought I heard someone walk in. Number 5. 5. World War II Bumblebee. Now, this does have one thing over the 15th anniversary edition. I don't have to worry about clear plastic issues with this guy. Everything else is a bit, gigantic backpack sticking off the back, inaccurate vehicle mode, which I'm not going to hold that against him. The vehicle mode in the movie switched between cuts, so it's not like he scanned it, it just switched for some reason, because Michael Bay. Gun doesn't look good. Hammer is probably the best accessory he comes with, and even then, for some reason he's green, even though in the movie he was gray. Don't know why that's the case. Yeah, just gigantic backpack. Legs are extremely limited in articulation. You only have the hip and the knee. No waist articulation. Shoulders, the head can rotate, but that's about it. Can't really look up or down. Yeah, just not a good figure overall. Definitely one of the weaker figures to ever come out from the Studio Series line. That was until this guy came out and officially took the spot for worst Bumblebee figure ever. I don't like this figure. This figure is awful. He's 50% clear plastic, so I'm sure he's going to fall apart within the next year or two. The backpack is gigantic for no reason. Yeah, and it's just not, it doesn't feel good. The transformation, he's way over engineered. The legs, getting them into vehicle mode is a nightmare. Yeah, it is not a good figure. Yeah, and it's weird because it uses similar transformation steps as the off-road Bumblebee, and that figure's 10 times better than this one. It's not even a contest. Yeah, oh, good lord. The fact that B-127 is worse. Sorry, my dog's got an itch apparently. Yeah, no, this figure's just bad overall. Color matching's terrible because of the clear plastic. QC issues, mine, the day I got it, crack in the front. Like, immediately on the first part of transformation, cracked on the hood. Yeah, it's a really bad figure. The This is one of the biggest figures where over reliance on clear plastic is the prominent issue. But moving on before I get into it, this toy sucks review. Number three. I made a pretty funny joke, or pretty funny. I made a very obvious and bad joke in the tops and best list with Beast Wars Retracts, and I was talking about how uh, uh, the Beast mode was an inventive choice for Predacon, and the gimmicks were great. No, Roly Poly is not a Predacon. That's a Maximal, if even that. That's something else entirely. It doesn't even look like a Roly Poly because Roly Polies don't have pincers or stinger. This toy is definitely one of those toys where it's built around its gimmick. The gimmick was the first thing they came up with, where you pull the two little yellow tabs in the center here and he balls up like a Roly Poly does. Yep, great gimmick. The only issue is that once he's in robot mode, you can't do anything with him. He's standing there, arms wide open, ready to hug the world, as TJ Omega said. And even then, once you get him into robot mode, good luck getting him into any poses because that backpack weighs about a pound and it's on two very spindly legs at best. Yeah, it's just this is just one of those toys where they might as well have not even made it. Why they chose to re-release this in 2022 is beyond me. Number 2, Barricade. This guy was the biggest disappointment of my entire toy collecting career. I heard about the QC issues, but I was like, as long as you're careful, you're not gonna have any issues with that. No, QC issues are widespread, very widespread. The windows from car mode constantly like to pop off. He doesn't like to tap together in vehicle mode. You can't pose him because the feet are so loosely connected to the robot mode that he topples over at the slightest bump. Instead of having the weapon actually go around his hand, or have his hand fold up and then put the weapon in like he does in the movie, he's just holding it and it looks really ugly. Can't pose him because he'll fall over. Backpack stupidly uses clear plastic for a ball joint socket, so good luck keeping your barricade for more than a year. He's just not good. And for some weird reason, they put soft plastic here, like this whole area here is a soft plastic insert, and I don't know why. Why not just use solid plastic? That's not even a part that a child would be able to get hurt on. I understand his weapon being soft plastic. That protrudes very far and has a lot of sharp edges on it. This has no sharp edges, so definitely don't understand that. Y'all knew it was coming. What can I say? That hasn't been said already. This is by far the worst Studio Series figure to ever be released. The gap between this guy and her is a mile long. I truly do not think they could get any worse than this. They'll try, but I don't think they can. Horrible QC issues, bad articulation, inaccurate to the movie. Yeah, it's just the only good thing about this is the vehicle mode. And when the only good thing I have to say about a figure is it looks good in vehicle mode for a Transformer, you've done something wrong. Arms constantly like to pop. And even in vehicle mode, the paint chipping on this thing is outrageously bad. Horrible. I have a Revenge of the Fallen skids that I got in 2009 that has paint chipping on the vehicle mode. That figure is 13 years old and it still has some of that paint there. This figure's 3. And I wouldn't be surprised if all the black paint is off within the next 2 years. And again, the overuse of clear plastic. The entire backpack is made of clear plastic. And surprisingly, that's probably the part of the figure that holds together the best. The ball joints at the shoulders. Useless. They're so loose you can't pose them, and then if you do get them in a pose, you're likely to pop them off in the process. Legs, can't pose them. They look okay, can't pose them because the ball joint socket is so deep inset into the thigh that every time you go to move it, it bumps. The backpack is so prominent that you can't get any backwards motion out of the legs. The way they have the thigh kibble here, you do unlock a little bit more articulation, but that's not how they have it in the instructions. In the instructions, these are supposed to be rotated behind the thigh, further limiting your articulation overall. The only good point of articulation on this figure is the head. It can look up and free range of motion on a ball joint. That is all. Yeah, as you can tell, this is definitely the worst figure. I have the most to say about this. The other guys, the other guys outside of like the top 5 were like, yeah, you know, there are issues, but like it's like a few issues without, you know, being like, oh, this figure's just horrible in every way. Top 5, yeah, no, I have way more to say about those figures than I do the bottom 5. So, with all that being said, we will do a quick run through of the list so far. We have number 10, Buzzworthy Dinobot. Good mold, need better colors. Kingdom Rhinox at number 9. But good paint job, good articulation, way over engineered in the legs. Doesn't look all that great in robot mode. And the weapons needed a major redesign. Number 8, Core Class Laserbeak. Doesn't feel good. Nothing figure. Definitely did not need to exist. Number 7, Helicopter Dropkick. Okay, articulation, pretty ugly to look at, and kind of fiddly. Number 6, 10, 9, 8, yeah, 6, sorry. I lost count there. 15th Anniversary Bumblebee. Looks alright, feels horrible. Just absolutely horrible. Definitely the worst figure in that 5-pack. Number 5, World War II Bumblebee. Feels alright. Can't do anything with them all that. You know, very limited articulation, inaccurate color scheme, and a ginormous backpack. Number 4, B-127. One of the is definitively the worst Bumblebee to have ever been released in the Studio Series line. Horrible QC issues, cancerous transformation, horrible color matching. Yeah, it's just not a good figure. Number 3, Beast Wars Retracts. A gimmick-centric toy that should not be sold at the deluxe price. Yeah. And it says a lot that this figure is generally considered one of the worst Transformers figures ever, and I have 2 figures released within the past 4 or 5 years above it. That says a lot about how bad those figures are. Number 2, Barricade. Horrible QC issues, doesn't like to tab together in vehicle mode. Overuse of soft plastic, overuse of clear plastic. This is just not a good figure. Horrible, good articulation. You can't use any of it because it'll fall over. And number 1, Car Shatter. This shouldn't really be a surprise to anyone. Horrible QC, bad articulation, inaccurate paint job, overuse of clear plastic. It's just not a good figure. So, with all that being said, I'm going to end it here. Let me know what your top 10 worst figures are. Let me know if I put a figure on here that you just absolutely cannot stand is on this list. Let me know if you agree on this list. Let me know if I missed a figure. But with all that being said, I will see you guys some other time. Guys, I need your help. Okay, so the algorithm is the number 1 enemy of all YouTube channels. Any YouTube channel that's trying to start up or isn't pre-established is going to fail because of the algorithm. So what I need you to do, I need you to do 2 things. 1, I need you to hit like. 2, I need you to subscribe. If you don't do either of those things, this channel is not going to be able to stay afloat for very long. So please, like, subscribe, and if you really like me, you might leave a comment while you're at it. Thank you very much.